Well, Lee, I've got to say there was more fight among the Newcastle media than there was from the Newcastle United players on the field at Wigan yesterday. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, I didn't see much fight on the field, but
did you see much fight off the field?
I certainly saw you getting up front and personal with the. I don't know whether he was an analyst or he was working on the website. Maybe it was a bit of both, but he certainly made his. He certainly nailed his colours to the mast, and I believe you weren't happy about it.
Yeah. Well, you can always tell when Newcastle are doing badly and opposing people in the press box start to cheer when I get ratty. But now you cannot have people jumping up and down like demented chickens just because somebody saved a penalty and Wigan scored. But there you go. I've got to say I was disgusted with Newcastle United's performance. I was appalled by it. I mean, Wigan were there for the taking. I mean, they were terrible, Wigan. That's why they're fourth off bottom. And Newcastle turned in a gutless, spineless performance. They had no fire in their bellies. Wigan won because I thought they were the side that wanted to win. And I find that a sad indictment of Newcastle United. And if those players cannot play for those fans after the way they turned out and supported them yesterday, they want to move on and find another club. Have I left anything to say after that?
Well, I see where you're coming from a lot of ways, but what I will say is that when things are
don't
up,
say Newcastle played well for 20 minutes, Lee. I don't.
No, when things are up for Newcastle United, they're all right. Like
yeah, but we're
like
talking about yesterday's game.
Right?
We're talking yesterday's game. This is what this
20
is
minutes
about.
yesterday, right? Which you don't want to seem to take on board. But for 20 minutes they created enough chances to win the game. Didn't convert the chances.
That makes it worse.
Didn't convert the chances. Missed the penalty, and after that, then you can say they were spineless after that. But they gave themselves a platform to go on and win the game, and they didn't take that platform. Well, and that's why they got such a poor result.
Yeah, well, I think even Glenn Roeder's got to look at himself. I'm Glenn Roeder's #1 fan. I'm 100% behind what he's done. I think if he's given time and a little bit of money, he'll turn this club round. But I thought he didn't do right yesterday when he played Nobby Solano on the right wing. I mean, Nobby, I love him, and he's done fantastic at right back. But you've got to accept the fact he hasn't got the legs to play in midfield in the Premiership now, especially away from home. And James Milner should have started the game.
That I take on board what you're saying again, but the 11 players picked should have. There was enough ability in the 11 names on the team sheet to win that match, and that's what it boils down to. And they didn't win the match. So, the team selection was a big talking point. I know James Milner. A lot of people think he should have started, and a lot of people think Nobby should have played right back. But the 11 players that were picked to go out did not do a job, and that 11 players were capable of doing a job of beating Wigan, because everyone else has beaten this season. Yeah.
Well, Wigan have lost 6 out of the previous 7 home games. And when you speak about 11 players, if you took the 2 11 players that started the game and picked one team, how many Wigan players would get in?
Well, I don't.
Leighton Baines.
I don't think there'll be many.
Leighton Baines, because
we need a left back.
Because Newcastle don't have a left back when Babiar's not fit. But after that, not on paper, not one Wigan player would get into a joint team, and I just think that makes it all the worse. That result yesterday could cost Newcastle a place in Europe, and they brought it upon themselves.
They're going to have to win probably all the home games and 50% of their away games, and they've only won 3 away games all season. So.
Well, I'm not
they're
saying
going to double what they've already done away from home in the last 2 or 3 months.
Well, I mean, we're not saying that they won't qualify for Europe, but because look at what happened last season. When Glenn took over, there were
6 wins from 7.
Yeah, they were right down the bottom, and he got them into Europe. So I mean, anything's possible. I mean, what makes it worse when Nobby Solano, who you would put your life, I remember hitting the bar of the penalty against Middlesbrough. But I know where it all went wrong, Lee. On Friday, you sat in that very seat and said Nobby Solano is a great penalty taker.
Nobby's the penalty taker, and he does take a really good penalty.
Yes.
So,
and I've got to question your judgment.
Well, he's a specialist penalty taker, and if you look down the list of the players who missed penalties, Alan Shearer, Chris Waddle. There's a lot of players.
Yeah.
David
You're
Beckham.
only as good as your last penalty.
Well, you are, but it doesn't make you a bad player because you missed a penalty.
Nobody suggests he's a bad player.
Nobby Solano is probably in the top. I think there's 3 contenders to play the season at Newcastle, and Nobby Solano's.
I'm not going to disagree with that, Lee. We're just saying that you put the kiss of death on Nobby on. But tell you what.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what then. He'll step up against Middlesbrough,
yes,
and he'll put it over the top of the Gallagher end into the car park.
I'd still rather Nobby took the penalties on Saturday against Middlesbrough. If Newcastle
have you not got any confidence in Ober Martins after his penalty at Everton?
No, I've got no confidence in all of them.
What's your opinion on him?
I thought
he's got 14 goals. So let's start from the top. He's got 14 goals. What else does he bring?
He's got 14 goals. I know the fans love him, but yesterday I've got to say it was like playing with 10 men. His contribution when he missed that, he missed that header after 11 minutes. He was right in front of the post, 6 yards out. I thought it was harder to miss than score, and he missed it. And that was his only contribution to the game. He might have been involved in the little build-up with the penalty.
I think he hit one on the turn as well.
After that, he might as well have not been playing. And when he plays like that, when he's out of the game for so long, especially when there's a battle, I don't think it's very good at all. The kid that came on, Carroll, did more in the first 5 seconds yesterday than on the field than Martins did in the whole game. Newcastle had 2 shots on target, Nobby's penalty, which goes down to shot on target, and the kid Carroll's shot when he came on. No, I want Glenn Roeder desperately to do well for Newcastle United, and Ober Martins is his £10 million signing. I'm desperate for Martins to do well, and he's got 14 goals, but I still think he could do a lot more, especially in situations Newcastle found themselves yesterday when they've got to roll up the sleeves and battle. He didn't battle, but I tell you what, neither did the rest of them.
And they're going to have to battle now. There's 10 games left now. It's 30 points to play for.
Yeah.
I think they finished last season on 58 points, so 30. They're not going to get 30 points on it, but
no.
It's if they don't win in the next 2 games, then they'll have 8 games left. It would look pretty bleak, but you don't. There's no fun. I get no pleasure out of slating Newcastle United.
That's not the point, Lee. We appeared to give our opinions on yesterday's match, and I've got to repeat what I said. I was disgusted by it.
Yeah, well, I agree that it was spineless, but the whole game wasn't spineless.
It was awful. I know the pitch wasn't great. You could tell it wasn't great, but that's when they've got to go out there and battle. Look at Manchester United. They had a battle at Fulham on Saturday. Fulham went at them, and they battled, and they won. But Newcastle just don't seem capable in situations like Fulham away and Wigan away. We're talking about Wigan Athletic here. I felt sick in my stomach when I saw them celebrating after the game. How can this team, 4th or bottom, beat Newcastle when they were terrible at Wigan? So where does that leave Newcastle? I think they're going to have to do well against Middlesbrough on Saturday. The only good thing out from my point of view is the game wasn't live on television. And only the fans, those fans that listen to it on the radio, and they don't know how bad it was, and it was terrible.